Seriously, why do you want to be a wholesaler? Why are you calling yourself a wholesaler? Trust me, you don't want to be a wholesaler. And in this episode, you're going to find out why.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
This is the Virtual Real Estate Investor Podcast with Vincent Polisi. Buckle your seatbelt and prepare to learn how to legally make six figures investing in real estate with no money, no credit check, and nothing but a computer and internet connection. Learn how you too can begin generating buyers and sellers for free today, and why you're only 2 calls away from making a $10,000 or more payday while never leaving the comfort of your home. And now, your host, the virtual real estate investor, Vincent Polisi.
All right, guys, here we go. Now, before we get off into why you don't want to be a wholesaler, we're going to have to unfortunately do some remedial vocabulary training here to explain once again what wholesaling actually legally and from a tax perspective, from a contract perspective, from a process perspective, from a closing perspective, from every perspective, what wholesaling actually is, because most of you still don't get it. And you're calling yourselves wholesalers when you're not. You don't understand what the law is. You don't understand what taxation is. So let's go ahead one more time, and hopefully we can start having this information permeate the entire industry so everybody understands and is using correct language so you don't sound like a fool.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Don't nobody understand the words that are coming out of your mouth, man.
To be successful in real estate investing, you gotta understand the language. Sit back as Vincent takes you through common real estate investing and business lingo in this episode of Vincent's Vernacular.
All right, first up, what is wholesaling? Let's get this straight once and for all. Wholesaling in real estate involves the purchase and closing of a property, whether it's residential or commercial, and then the resale of the property to another investor. If you're doing contract assignments, you are not wholesaling. You are not a wholesaler. The only way you can be a quote-unquote wholesaler is if you buy the property and you close on the property with cash or cash and financing and sell it to another investor. Now, let's go ahead and clear up a few misnomers and urban myths that are out there. Big misconception that wholesaling, legitimate wholesaling, involves the acquisition of property at a discount and or the sale of that property at a discount to fair market value. Absolutely incorrect and untrue. Wholesaling has nothing to do with the price. Wholesaling strictly has to do with the transaction and who the parties are. Must be to investors or investment companies. B2B has nothing to do with the price, has everything to do with how the transaction is handled and who the parties are. Wholesaling, when you wholesale a property, it is taxed as a short-term capital gain. Contract assignments are not. Contract assignments, because a contract is not real estate, it is personal property taxed completely differently. Some like to argue that wholesaling has to do with discounts, and it doesn't. If wholesaling had to do anything with the price or discounting, Walmart would be the world's largest wholesaler, but they are not. They are the world's largest retailer, and the reason that despite the deep discounts that they provide, that they are the world's largest retailer is simply because they are selling B2C, business to customer, not B2B, business to business, or eye to eye, investor to investor, if you want to look at it that way. So hopefully you guys can understand that and stop calling yourself a wholesaler if you're doing contract assignments, because you're not, and it makes you look like somebody that doesn't know what they're talking about. If you're going to wholesale, you must purchase and close on the property, and you must sell it to another investor. If you sell it to the end user, that is not wholesaling. That is retailing. Whether you get it at a discount or not makes absolutely no difference in whether or not you're wholesaling or retailing. Now, let me clarify a few things as I'm going through this, because I just said a couple of things that could be misconstrued incorrectly. What I'm referring to here is the typical wholesale flip, where it would be a short-term gain. You could technically, as an investor, purchase a property, have it as a buy and hold for a period of time, sell it to another investor, put it in 1031, and it would not be taxed as short-term capital gain. So let me go ahead and clarify that. But it would still be classified as a wholesale transaction if it was sold investor to investor. One other thing I just said that needs to also be clarified now that I think about it is you could technically wholesale property utilizing no money down owner finance contracts. In other words, I said a few minutes ago that you had to purchase the property and close with cash or cash and financing. But that's not actually accurate. You can purchase the property with an owner finance agreement with no cash and all 100% owner financing. And once you have that property contracted and purchased utilizing an owner finance contract, there's nothing stopping you from then selling it once again on another owner finance contract to another investor. So hopefully that clears up what wholesaling actually is, how it's taxed, what the process is, and why it has nothing to do with contract assignments. Now let's get into why you don't want to be a wholesaler.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Everybody better sit down and cover their butts, because Vincent's on a rampage. His foot is getting twitchy, and here comes another segment of his world-famous Butt Meat Boot Coaching.
So here's the problem with being or calling yourself a wholesaler, whether you're actually doing wholesaling or contract assignments. The problem is, and the reason that you don't want to be a wholesaler is because you're not thinking like a full spectrum real estate investor with multiple streams of income. It generally means that you're taking every single opportunity that comes across your desk and trying to force it into the wholesaling or contract assignment model. And that is a great way to lose money, leave money on the table, and go out of business. You need multiple streams of income, especially from real estate investing, cash flow, money from flips, money from assignment fees. You need to be a full spectrum real estate investor, not a wholesaler. Don't be a one-trick pony. Be a true, legitimate real estate investor.
You've been listening to the Virtual Real Estate Investor Podcast with Vincent Polisi. If you've enjoyed this podcast, be sure to connect with Vincent at virtualrealestateinvestor.org, Facebook at facebook.com/virtual real estate investor, or at Vincent's private Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/virtual real estate investor.